welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be sharing with you my current foundation routine using all drugstore products. This is a full coverage foundation routine. This is meant for dry skin. Folks with oily or combination skin could also take some of these tips as well. If you are interested in how I get a full coverage foundation look with drugstore products, then please keep on watching. Okay, before we get started with foundation, I do want to note that I am filming this eye look right now. This will already be up on my YouTube page, so I will link it up in the cards and down below so that you guys can check that out. For the foundation routine today, the first thing you want to do is go ahead and prime your skin. Today I'm using the Covergirl Pore Minimizing Primer. But I would recommend finding a primer that is going to combat your biggest face struggle. So if you struggle with oily skin, finding a mattifying primer. If you have dry skin like me, finding something that is going to add some luminosity to your skin. If you have big pores, you might like this pore minimizing primer if you have pores around your nose area, but you want to find a primer that is going to help combat your biggest struggle with foundation. So you're just going to apply your primer all over your skin and you want to let that dry and set down. For foundation today, I am going to be using the Covergirl Matte Made foundation. I wear the color L20. This is a mattifying foundation. I would say it's a pretty good medium to full coverage foundation. This is ideal for somebody who has combination or oily skin, but if you have dry skin, you can use this as well. Just make sure you moisturize and prime your skin really well before. I'm going to take this and I'm going to pump out 2 pumps on the back of my hand. And I'm just going to use my finger to warm it up on the back of my hand and dot it around my skin. You want to go in with lighter layers of foundation. You don't want to go right in with a ton of product. And I'm going to be applying it with a damp beauty sponge. I find that this gives the most natural coverage, and you're just going to press it into the skin. By using a damp beauty sponge, you are pushing the product into your skin rather than moving it around, and this is going to just give a really skin-like appearance and also help your makeup last because you're pushing it into your skin. I want a little bit of extra coverage on my cheeks and on my forehead. So I'm going to take one more pump here, use my fingers again, and just place that foundation where I want more coverage. I mostly want it on my cheeks, on my forehead, and I am going to avoid my mouth area. So again, just building up that coverage where you want it most. Once you have your foundation built up to the desired coverage that you want, it's time to go in with concealer. I'm going to be using the Covergirl TruBlend Undercover Concealer. I wear the color L150 Porcelain. If you guys like the Tarte Shape Tape Concealer, this is a really good drugstore alternative. And what I'm going to do is just apply a tiny bit under my eyes. I'm going to take some on my forehead, on my nose, and a little bit on my chin. Also have some blemishes that are out to play. So this concealer is a little bit lighter than my skin tone, so I use the concealer to highlight the high points of my face. And I'm just going to use that same sponge and blend that out. Your concealer pat it out, you're gonna want to set your under eyes. This is just so the concealer doesn't go into any fine lines. The concealer lasts all day. And for that, I'm going to be using a loose powder. This is the Maybelline FitMe loose powder. This is in the color 05 Fair. And I'm just going to get a little bit out into the cap. And I'm going to take a detail brush like this. And I'm just going to swirl that in, tap it off, and gently pat this under my eyes, looking up. You want to look up when you are setting your concealer so that you're not setting the concealer into the fine lines under your eyes. I really like this powder for setting the under eyes. It just smooths over any pores really nicely. It doesn't allow your concealer to go into your lines, and it just looks really soft and pretty, and it's an affordable powder, so it's really nice. I'm just gonna bring whatever I have left down to my nose and just set that, and then also my smile lines. Now, the next step that I'm going to do is all a personal preference. If you don't want to set your whole face, that is totally fine. I prefer to set the whole face just to make sure that my foundation lasts all day. And to do that, I'm going to use a pressed powder. This is the Maybelline Better Skin powder. This is one of my favorite drugstore powders. It is full coverage. It just glides over the pores. I'm not sure if it's available anymore, but if you can find it, definitely grab it. And for that, I'm going to just use a big fluffy brush and just grab a little product and just set all over where I didn't set with the loose powder. This powder also adds a little bit of extra coverage to add to that full coverage look. From here, we are looking pretty ghostly, so we want to add a little bit of color back into our skin. For that, we will be using bronzer, blush, and highlight. I'm not going to go too in-depth with this, but I will show you how I do that. And I'll just kind of speed through this so that you guys can see it. But basically, you just want to add some color back into your skin. For bronzer, I'm going to be using the Milani Silky Matte. This is in the color 03 Sun Tan. And all I'm going to do is take this on a fluffy brush and do my cheekbones, my temples, and my jawline. For blush, I'm going to be using the Milani Powder Blush. This is in the color Romantic Rose. This is a really gorgeous, just neutral, everyday pink color. I'm just going to pop this onto my cheekbones. For highlight, I'm going to be using the Ofra and Samantha March. This is a two-toned highlight, and what I'm going to do is just highlight the high points of my cheekbones, above my eyebrow a little bit, my nose, and my chin. Okay guys, that is it for today's tutorial. I hope you found it helpful and took some tips and tricks to try in your foundation routine. If you have any questions, make sure you leave them below in the comments and I'll make sure to answer them. But thank you guys so much for being here today. If this video was helpful to you, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe before you go, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye!